Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. This is Sunny, and I promote, encourage, and coach people on spirituality to help them transform their lives from a mind, body, and soul perspective. How can we start our journey on spirituality? But before deep diving into that, I want to talk about what spirituality means. Okay? Let's talk about the myths first. Being spiritual is going to the temple, going to the church, praying to God. That's what we think nowadays. Being spiritual is going to India, going to some Buddhist country, and trying to find a monk who can teach us spirituality. Okay. Being spiritual, we say nowadays that is being religious. Okay. That's what we think nowadays. But let me clarify all those myths. For all the people who really want to start their true journey of spirituality. Okay? First thing first, we were always spiritual since our birth. Because we grew physically, we grew mentally by going through the education system. We grew emotionally by going through different kind of emotional situations in our life, be it from the, parents' point of view, your siblings, your friends, or your life partner, or your kids, or whatever that is, right? We kept our emotional maturity there, right? We were always spiritual. So what exactly spirituality is? Spirituality talks about connecting to yourself in order to grow in all the areas of your life without being dependent on the outcomes. So what I mean by that is my growth. Let's say, for example, I respect myself, but I am not attached to the respect that I get from outside. So we grow without any expectations. That is called as spirituality. The bottom line of spirituality is, to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So spirituality is something that is already embedded in our lives, fully. That defines spirituality in a nutshell. Now let's talk about what really blocks us from being fully spiritual. Okay? Fully spiritual, I'm talking. First thing first, the limited belief systems. Oh, spirituality is all about religion. Oh, people are like this. We should go ahead and chase people to have them in our lives as a partner. We should chase money. We should chase respect. Right? We always look outwards. Spirituality talks about connecting to yourself, which is inwards, looking inwards, right? And we always keep looking outwards. Why is that? Because we are so attached to it. But what I told about spirituality, we talk about our growth without any expectations. without getting attached to the outcomes. Yeah. So limited belief systems keep, programming our mind in terms of what kind of car are we driving? What kind of house do we have? What kind of bank balance do we have? What kind of relationships do we have? What kind of physical fitness do we have? And we will start evaluating ourselves on the basis of that. Because these are all tangible things. And what we believe in is all tangible things that we can see. But, it's such a concern that people really and truly have stopped looking inwards, right? Majority of the world I'm talking about. Because the world is so competitive and the competition has caused a lot of chaos in terms of if you do not do better, right, then what's going to happen is somebody else is going to take away your job. Or something like that. There's that sense as well. And in all areas of life as well. Men compete for women, and women are like becoming more masculine nowadays, they love their independence and they might have kids. Men are becoming more masculine, women are becoming more masculine because they have disconnected. They're disconnected from themselves completely. They don't know themselves at all. Why? Because they have got the sense of identity, ego, all those limited belief systems. Not even that, their childhood traumas and how they were treated or how they were born and brought up and all that kind of stuff keeps adding and adding onto your soul. And then there's a big layer of emotional and mental programming that actually keeps them away from being connected to themselves, right? But when we start this journey of spirituality, the actual journey of spirituality really and truly starts when we take accountability for mental and emotional, which we don't do. Majority of them. That's why they always say, spirituality is religion. But they don't understand spirituality is just all about your growth from all areas. I'm talking about money. Money is a different factor. I'll leave money, right? I'm talking about physical growth, mental growth, and emotional growth. And our mental growth, which actually is responsible for our thoughts, trigger our emotions. And when our mental growth is not fit, or mentally we are not fit, then the emotions are also all over the place. And that's where we end up, facing disrespect. We become people pleasers, looking for validation, instant gratification. We lose patience. We get anger. We get aggression. We become prideful, egoistic. Right? We start looking down on people. We get jealous of people. We try to compare ourselves. We compete without even knowing ourselves. So many things. So the real journey of spirituality, which I talk about, is all related to unconditional self-love. Is to first identify your mental as well as your emotional patterns. Okay? Forget about God. Forget about going to the church. Forget about, praying to Buddha. Whatever that is. They don't give a damn about it. They say, oh, you're not looking into your mental and emotional growth? I can't do anything about it. They will say like that. Even the universe will say like that. Right? So for believers and non-believers, it doesn't matter. It is just basic sciences. Basic sciences is all about looking inwards and then creating your reality outside. Okay. So once we identify those patterns, we need to identify where they're coming from, what caused it. Did we go through some kind of, you know, mental or emotional trauma during our childhood? Did we go through, a continuous karmic pattern of certain things where we always end up attracting wrong people? So on and so forth. I can talk about all those things in different video, but that's the most important thing. We need to identify where it's coming from. And we can only identify where it's coming from. Why? Because if you really want to take accountability, and if you're really looking for that mental and emotional transformation, then you will do that work. Otherwise, you will never do that work. You know those motivational speakers who keep talking about, I have no competition with them, by the way. Right? But I'm going to highlight that. You know what they say is, oh, I'm doing this, I have done that already, and I have gotten the results. Let's go ahead and, teach people on those kind of things. That's okay. That's their business, and they're earning money with that. But what I am trying to say is, before you even take a decision to start following any motivational speaker, you gotta know yourself first. And you can only know yourself by identifying the patterns that you have. That's why they have a mindset reprogramming training before you jump onto any entrepreneurship, any big training in terms of, setting up your mindset for what you want to do as part of that. Right? That's why they do it. But they don't talk about the emotional aspect of it. Why? Because all your thoughts are driving your emotions. And if your thoughts are not aligned, then your emotions will never be aligned. Okay. And then we keep, end up doing wrong things. We end up spending a lot of money, and then we get no results out of it. So how I did that was, I went through an awakening process. So this was a very reactive way of me following spirituality, the core spirituality, okay? I was already doing the other parts. I started doing intermittent fasting, going to the gym regularly and all that kind of stuff, and, upskilling myself as far as my work is concerned. That is also spiritual work, okay? But as far as the pure spiritual work is concerned, when you have to rewire your thoughts along with your emotions, that is so painful. So I had that awakening, and that was a reactive way of following spirituality, and then started going to the church multiple times a day, and then I had to heal myself. I was the only person. I never got any help from any healer, any therapist per se, for my healing, for my emotional healing. I started healing myself, and I created certain principles of spirituality in my life, and those are the core principles of spirituality as well. I've already created a video for that better. You can check it out. I'll be sharing the link of the video in my description. So the principles that I followed, or I still follow, I would say, for spirituality from mental and emotional point of view, it's all about peace, love, compassion, forgiveness, non-judgmental, patience, abundance, self-worth, and self-respect. Okay. So you can start catching all those kind of thoughts, right? And meditation is the best way to start catching your thoughts. Why? Because when we start thinking about something, some kind of struggle going on in our lives, or some kind of pain in our life, anything which is bothering us, right? we get carried away with those thoughts, and we are never able to stop those thoughts. Why? Because we do not have that mental calmness in place. Okay, it used to happen with me as well. The thoughts would never stop and never stop. They will keep going, and that will blow my mind away, right? But right now, after a couple of years of meditation practice, and I now teach meditation, which is called as dhyana in Sanskrit. Comes from India, comes from ancient Hinduism, which is all about power of peace. Right? So you're sitting peacefully, basically, for 30 to 40 odd minutes, whatever time you want to do your meditation for, and you're focusing towards your thoughts and letting them to come onto the surface, and then to acknowledge them. Now I can catch my thoughts like this. The moment any kind of worry, or in the moment any kind of fear, the moment any kind of comparison, or the moment any kind of judgment would come onto my mind, or the moment any kind of lack, or any unworthy thought that would pop up, I'm able to catch that there and then. And then I would convert that, or I would reverse it by using certain techniques, right? So I do teach those techniques as well. But that's the most important thing during the initial stage. So again, you're going to look into your emotional and mental pattern. Once you identify them, you got to understand where they're coming from. And the third step, and the biggest step, is making a discipline in our lives to start doing meditation. If some motivational speakers say that meditation is crap, and meditation is this or that, and doesn't help you at all, I'll be more than happy to debate with that person. 500%. I can say that with true confidence and courage on this camera. But this process never ends, right? This process will never end. The initial stages would be very, very painful. Very painful. When we have to go through transformations in our lives, and especially those mental and emotional, spiritual transformations, it's so painful. Why? Because we have to eradicate all that rubbish that has been filled into our emotions and thoughts since our childhood. It's just like going to the gym, when you're starting your workout, or probably you started running recently, you will see, cramps or probably muscle aches happening for the first week or 2 weeks or so. But this mental emotional pain is a bit longer than that, right? Okay, that would happen during the initial stages for a very long time. So before you get awakened by someone, or if you're already going through the awakening process, or you want to take proactive measures to transform your life, this is the best, and this is the only way that I think that actually can help you do all those things, do that transformation, mental and emotional transformation, on your own. Or if you need any guidance or coaching from me, I have my contact details mentioned in the description column below. You can definitely get in touch with me. See, again, I'm going to give that example. When we go to the gym, we always hear that slogan, no pain, no gain, right? So when I went through that awakening, when I was going to the church and trying to connect to the divine and all that kind of stuff, I still believe in that, right? But in case we do not believe in that, believe in the universe, right? If you're atheist, there's no hard and fast rule in terms of adopting or adapting to spirituality through religions, through different religions, right? But when I was going to the church twice or thrice a day, and I went through such an emotional and mental pain that then I gave up and I said, God, if you have to transform me, then I love this pain. And I started loving that emotional and mental pain. And I used to cry while climbing up on that road and going towards church. The church is based on a small hill here in Donegal, right? I used to cry. And I used to always say, God, give me more pain. If you can't give me more pain, this is the time I want to fully transform and I want to get out of it. Just like no pain, no gain in the gym. So mental and emotional pain is something which is worse than the physical pain. And I hope everybody would agree on that. So you got to appreciate the pain as well that will come with it. You got to acknowledge and appreciate it, and you're going to ask for more courage to bear that pain from the universe, because as I told you earlier, to every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're looking for more courage to bear that pain and then you're looking for more pain, what's going to happen is you'll build that resistance. Mental and emotional resistance to bear that pain. Okay. Despite the fact that we start blaming and start playing a victim card in our lives, it's better to go through that mental and emotional pain once and for all and finish that chapter and have a rebirth with an entirely different personality. So now, what are the benefits of me after following spirituality, mental and emotional transformation, or mental and emotional spirituality? Since last 2.5, 3 years or so. I have lost grip on anger. I am more compassionate. I am more loving to myself. I am more focused. I have more energy. I have more happiness and peace in my life. And I have more self-worth and self-respect. I've become so patient in my life. That's unbelievable. And this is the stage wherein you would not require anybody to fulfill you. You will become complete. You will be highly fulfilled and whole within yourself because you got connected to yourself. And that's the best part of it. And then you will have a lot of courage to do any wonders in this life. Any passion that you want to pursue. You want to be a speaker? I want to be a public speaker. So I'm talking in front of the camera. And I'm an Indian. My accent was never like that. I have already talked about this in my previous videos. How am I able to get that kind of courage to talk in front of the camera like that with a different kind of an accent despite being an Indian? It's the courage and the confidence that I get when we remove all the fears from our life. Well, I would not say all the fears. Well, let me correct myself. Sorry. There would be still few fears, right? That will still remain there. Okay. But majority of the fears will be removed. Because you will come over those fears one by one. Fear of being lonely. Fear of being not respected. Fear of being not loved, fear of anything, or fear of lack, fear of maybe future, right? So on and so forth. Again, the path of spirituality is simple. It is based on complete sciences, which is to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And really and truly, spirituality is all about connecting to yourself for your internal transformation more versus your physical transformation. Okay? Your physical transformation is definitely part of spirituality, but once you have that mental and emotional clarity, then it becomes a lot better, You got a lot more energy. You do not require motivation to go to the gym. Yeah, the motivation is already there automatically. Automatically. I don't require any motivation to make my videos like this. I have my motivation automatically. And everything becomes effortless. Everything. You become a leader, you're accountable for yourself, you're a good speaker, you gain confidence in your life, your relationships get better. What else do you want? Always remember, what you are is what you're gonna get. And this what actually is the core result of spirituality. So as I mentioned during the beginning of this video, I'm a spiritual coach, and I teach meditation, which is a true power of silence, which is the one of the most powerful meditation practices around the world to help you unleash that most authentic version of yourself by, enlightening that kind of unconditional self-love and healing yourself from your past wounds and mental traumas or emotional traumas. My contact details are already there in the description column in case you want to get in touch with me. You're more than welcome to do that. Till my next video, take care of yourself. Sunny signing off.